Hello, my diamonds and my Teletubbies and my TikTokers. Let's chat for a while. There's times in life when you're gonna have to cut the cord. You have to stay away from these validation seekers and people who don't support you. So let's chat about that for a while. Now, there are these people who constantly seek approval and validation from other people. They rely, listen to that word I just used, they rely on outside opinions. And why? This is the part that was an eye-opener for me. They rely on outside opinions to feel good about themselves. And this is so draining for other people, but they don't care. They don't care. Now, it's good to support your friends and your loved ones, but it's not your job to constantly having to boost their ego. They have to understand that true confidence, that comes from within. Now, these are people who will suck the energy out of you by constantly seeking validation and attention. Constantly. Now, let me tell you about me when it comes to attention. When it comes to attention, the only time I really want attention is if I work hard on something. And I would like to be acknowledged for my hard work. That's about it when it comes to attention for me. Because I'm the type, I will go to a place and I sit way in the back. I'm not trying to sit all up in the front so everybody can see me. Ooh, look at me, look at me. That's not SheilaTruelove. But if I work hard on something, and especially if I do a lot of research and I do a lot of brainstorming and I put a lot of my energy into something, yes, I do want you to appreciate it. I do. And that has nothing to do with being an attention seeker or validate me. I don't need you to validate me. I don't need you to approve me. I don't need you to agree with me. I'm not going to lose friendship with you or cut you off or call you toxic or you're argumentative. No. You're entitled to your feelings and your viewpoint. But you have a lot of people who they are ready to crucify you. Don't you ever disagree with them or see things or feel differently. These people, they will suck the energy out of you because they're constantly seeking that validation and that attention. And they thrive off of drama and negativity, and they'll do anything to keep you hooked into their toxic cycle. So it's so important for you to recognize these vampires. And you have to set boundaries to protect your own mental health. Now, I'm diabetic, honey, and I'm doing well. But I learned that too much stress can cause your sugar to go up, and I can't be around that. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if you my son, if you my daughter. I don't care. The only person I'll put up with anything is basically my parents. And that's because Jehovah says you're supposed to honor your parents, and even too much toxicity from them, you have to put limits. Now, just because someone like my daughter, we're going at it again. You remember in my previous videos, we can't seem to get along because she's a Jehovah Witness, and I left that organization. I was a part of that organization for 55 years. Now, we've been in therapy. She never wants to lay it on the line where the real problem is. We're having a problem because she worships not Jehovah. She doesn't follow Jesus. She worships the governing body. Anything the governing body tell them to do, that's what they'll do, even if it's not in harmony with the scriptures. Now, I left because they're not being led by the Holy Spirit. They're not inspired by God. They already admitted that part. Okay? They're not being led by the Holy Spirit, which is why, and it explains why they keep changing their teachings. Every time you look up, oops, they got a new light. So me and my daughter, we're bumping heads, and she don't want to admit it. That's where the problem lies. She thinks I don't know what her agenda is, but I can see straight through her. She only wants to stay in this organization. She feels safe there. And because it gives her husband a title and he gets to have a platform where he could talk and get some attention. Like always, it's only about a man when it comes to her. That's what it's all about. But she thinks I'm so stupid And anytime you try to treat your parents like they're stupid, that's disrespectful. I can see exactly what's going on. Now, when I try to show her evidence and tell her to do research, she don't want to listen. She says you're toxic. And oh, please, don't you ever use Jesus Christ too much. Don't use his name too much. Oh, no. That's like putting a cross to a vampire, or putting a mirror in front of a vampire, or pulling, when you put light on a vampire, how he just, oh my God, he wants to run and hide. Don't you ever talk too much about Jesus. You want to say people are toxic, and you want to call people argumentative because they simply don't agree with you? Because they don't feel the way you feel? Or what about people who you support them, but they don't support you? You're pouring into them, pouring into them. You're doing all the work. You did everything to right your wrongs, and you don't see them supporting you. You want me to support your channel, but do you support mine? I wrote a book. Did you finish reading my book? Because I read so many of yours. Anytime you want to do something, if you're going through a hard time and you need a fellowship meeting or a support group, I'm right there with you 100%. Would you do it for me? And when you see that you're pouring into people and they're not pouring back, it's time for you to fall back, baby. I don't care who they are. Because like I said, I will always love me more than I care about you. And that's where I stand. So like I said, people who need constant validation in order to feel good about themselves, they're suffering from low self-esteem. They have anxiety issues and depression issues, and they need to be in therapy. Instead of spending money on vacations, they need to pour that money into their mental health. Yeah. Now, my mental health and my well-being is very important. It's too important to me to keep being around or dealing with people who need this constantly. They have people, they want you to agree. And I know you guys have experienced it. You see it all the time on social media. The moment you make a comment that don't agree, see, I delete comments if somebody's like being disrespectful, or if somebody is like snapping on the way you look, or they're talking about your hair. But if a person, I could see that they did their research, they looked at the studies, they looked at surveys, they are going to the library, and they're speaking not from the side of their neck or their rectum, I would definitely keep you don't have to agree with me. If you look at my channel and look at the comment area, I show that all the time. I don't have a problem with you disagreeing with me as long as you know what you're talking about. And please proofread what you're going to post on my channel in the comments. Don't sit up here and post stuff and it don't make any sense. Now, when things don't make sense, I have to take it down. But I don't have a problem with you not seeing everything the way I do, because some of the times I actually learn from you. And instead of me getting bent out of shape, I have an attitude of appreciation and gratitude. Thank you for sharing, helping me to see things from a different angle. But that's not how these people feel. They want you to agree with whatever they say. And where does all of this need for validation comes from? It comes from social media. The social media platforms, they showcase and they highlight unrealistic comparisons, and people need validation from that. It comes from, check this out, this is what it really comes from: insecurities, low self-esteem. Many people, they struggle with self-doubt. They're not sure of themselves. So instead of getting the help that they need and stop depending on external validation, they need to be in therapy. First of all, you need prayer. You need a Bible study. I offer Bible studies via, we could go to the cyber cafe, that's FaceTime. You need Bible study. You need a support group. Yeah, they got AA, they got codependency. People who suffer from this dire need for validation, they need to be in a codependency support group. That's where you belong. So find one and join. People could go to Al-Anon. If you're struggling with alcohol, you're an alcoholic. AA. If you drink, you have a problem drinker, but you're not an alcoholic, they have moderation management, MM. And then you have, if you're struggling with, like, you're abusing your medications and you're popping pills or you have drug issues, they have NA. You have all kind of support out there. Because sitting around getting angry at people because they won't validate you, and you're lying, and you're accusing them of being argumentative, or they're being toxic. Oh, child, please. I'm just like way too done. So when I see these things are starting to mess with my health, my mental health, my emotional health, and my physical health, I fall back. And like I said what I said, and I stand on what I said. I don't care who you are. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle.